What I'm going to discuss today is something, it's a hypothetical point in astrology called the North Node. Now, the premise for me is that everything is energy, as we know. Everything emits energy, and that the planets orbiting through our solar system has an effect on our birth chart and the day and the time we were born. Now, it lays out the individual's wiring, but what you do with that wiring is up to you, addressing the fate versus free will that I'm so often asked about. And what I have is a link just below this video where you can easily research where your North Node is located based on the day, month, and year of your birth. So go ahead, pause the video, and I'll wait, I promise you. Okay, so now that you've all gone and researched and referenced your friend's North Node, your husband's, your wives, your children, this can be a very helpful tool. And what it does is it puts us in a state of non-judgment because we can see the areas that people are working on. I've worked with over 2,000 clients, and this always resonates for them at some deep level. I call it the soul contract. What we're meant to grow to and develop in this life, in this incarnation, as we return life after life to overcome fear, negativity, to find an energetic home for ourselves in which we can thrive. And that uncurls DNA, it makes us lighter beings, and hence that sends that out into the environment around us and raises not only our vibration, but the vibrations of everyone around. So, without further ado, if you saw that your North Node is located in Aries or the first house, there's a need here to be inspiring and to be courageous and independent in this lifetime. This signifies that in other lifetimes you've overdeveloped the capacity to be in relationship, and if you rely too much on those experiences, being overly dependent upon other people's views, opinions of you, that leads to a feeling of discontent. By connecting with Aries and this North Node, through developing your own sense of identity, through making decisions for yourself, and learning how to contribute in relationships based on equality and self-development. This is a self-directing placement where the soul's meant to define their course and follow it. It's about self-awareness. It's about trusting your impulses. It's about courage and the moderation in giving and self-nurturance. So what this North Node is saying in Aries is that we cannot enter partnership until we have a fully developed sense of self, high self-regard, and high self-love. So what you're meant to leave behind in this lifetime is seeing yourself through other people's eyes, or a debilitating selflessness, an overgiving, not having any boundaries, a codependence, or an attachment to external harmony. Now, careers of Aries North Node people are anything where they can be leaders and innovators and pioneers. A profession where they can follow their own instincts. And an affirmation for this North Node placement may be, before I can support others, I need to learn to support myself first. If you have a North Node in Taurus, or the second house, this indicates a soul contract or the need to develop your own personal resources, talents, money, self-esteem, in order to share in group or partnership relationships. It's an awareness of boundaries. It's taking things one step at a time. It's a sense of self-worth, self-esteem. Also, what do you value? We come to know others by what they value, what's important to the individuals in your life, and honoring that. Patience, enjoying the physical senses, is also a part of this North Node placement, as is gratitude, forgiveness, persistence, plotting, taking a step at a time every day. What to leave behind in this lifetime, in this incarnation for Taurus Node people, is an attention to crisis situations, is over concern with other people's business, impatience, judgmental tendencies, and a preoccupation with other people's motivations. And a healing affirmation for this placement, the Taurus North Node, might be, when I live by my own values, I feel good about myself. Careers for this placement is master builders. I mean, whether that's a home, a relationship, a business, you excel in professions that are in alignment with what you truly value. Your values are uppermost in this incarnation. Talents with money management are often found here. Areas that appreciate the physical aspects of life, such as farming or construction, engineering, cooking, physical education. If you have a Gemini or a third house North Node placement, there's a need for the conscious mind to know things, for gathering information and understanding through knowledge and those from their environment, such as neighbors and relatives. Also, facing problems with logic and reason, a healthy curiosity, asking questions to learn more about how other people think, seeking both sides of a situation, listening, seeking factual information before making decisions is part of this Gemini North Node placement. What to leave behind is self-righteousness, aloofness, assuming that other people know where you're at, needing to be right, thinking you know where others are at without really listening, and acting on intuition without checking facts is another area to leave behind. Careers for this placement for Gemini in the North Node might be selling, writing, teaching, and communicating in all forms can bring happiness. Gifts in philosophy, religion, and awareness of ethics and morality. And using your natural talents to deeply connect with others on a daily basis is a very strong need for the soul growth of the North Node in Gemini. An affirmation for this may be, when I'm willing to listen and learn about the other person, I win. If you have a North Node in Cancer or the fourth house, this speaks to building inner foundations based on your emotional stability, gained through your domestic surroundings and through the controlling of emotions. It's soul growth versus ego growth. This placement says that you've been a big shot in other lives, that you've gone after your ambitions and goals in a very public way, that you've learned these lessons. Whereas this North Node is speaking to your personal life, your safety, creating a home for yourself in which you can thrive. But firm foundations need to be built in order to stand up to the emotional pressures of the limelight. Marilyn Monroe had this North Node placement. It's about validating feelings, nurturing others, honest disclosure of your own feelings, insecurities. It's about humility, accepting other people's feelings without judgment. So what to leave behind that's been developed in other incarnations is the needing to control people and circumstances, ignoring the journey and being too focused on the goal. Hiding your feelings and fears in relationship is another piece to be left behind. Taking care of others and neglecting yourself. Doing what is socially acceptable rather than what's totally honest. And thinking that things have to be difficult to be important is another concept or orientation to leave behind. Careers for the North Node in Cancer can be anything that gives you the opportunity to nourish other people. Food industry, restaurants, hospitality, real estate, housing repairs, working in the home, working with women. There's a strong business feel about this placement and strong instincts that lend you to serve others in a very honest and practical way. So an affirmation for the North Node in Cancer may be, it's okay to let my feelings show. If you have a North Node placement in Leo or the 5th house, there's a need to revel in your creativity. There's a need to develop your own creativity for the good of the group, a willingness to take center stage, to follow your passions, to develop your self-confidence, to take risks, pleasure, and relating to your own childlike qualities, as well as the qualities of others, is part of this 5th house or Leo North Node placement. What's meant to be left behind in this lifetime is yielding to peer pressure in order to belong. You're really kind of meant to follow the beat of your own drummer here, instinctually and through the creative impulse. What to leave behind is emotional detachment, or waiting for others to prompt your own actions or desires. And excessive daydreaming. You're meant to act upon your impulses in this lifetime. So careers for a North Node Leo may be the entertainment business, entrepreneurship. Leo makes great managers and executives, but some way where you can be at center stage and take risks, and also even to compete is part of this placement. So a healing affirmation for this may be, when I follow the impulses of the child within, I win. If you have a North Node placement in Virgo or the 6th house, there's a strong need to be of service to others in this lifetime. It's the soul contract. It's your soul growth. And to bring order to chaos, to create routines, to focus on the now, not worrying about the past, not worrying about the future. Focus on the now. The now creates our future. It's about moderation, and it's also about physical self-care. If you have a North Node in Virgo, noticing and valuing the details is important for you in this lifetime, as is gaining confidence through experience. What is meant to be left behind for North Node Virgo people is being a victim, confusion and disorientation, avoidance of planning, escapism through drugs, through alcohol, through shopaholic, being a workaholic, daydreaming, and overcoming feelings of inadequacy, and overcoming the need to withdraw or to give up. Careers for this placement: doctors, dentists, nurses, using your healing energies while being of service to others in practical ways would help fulfill this soul contract, as would be psychologists, healers, dietitians, accountants, craftsmen. The physical nuts and bolts of life and paying attention to detail, the need to ground, to feel complete, the mind-body connection too. So an affirmation for the North Node in Virgo may be, when I withdraw, I lose. When I participate in creating positive results, I win. If you have the North Node in Libra or your 7th house, there is a need to interact with others in cooperative relationships. As you're extremely independent, you've been very independent in other lifetimes. So the growth, the soul contract in this lifetime is about partnering with others and thinking in terms of happiness, personal happiness, through cooperation, through diplomacy and tact, through awareness of other people's needs, creating win-win situations, not win-lose, not the old competitive, but where everyone benefits through sharing, through seeing things through another person's eyes. So what to leave behind in this lifetime for North Node Libran people is impulsiveness, or the lack of other people's needs, selfishness, resistance to compromise, over-concern with survival, areas to be left behind in this lifetime. Careers for the Libra North Node: counselors, diplomats, beauty and art, because Libran is always concerned with aesthetics and balance and harmony. Entertainers, public speakers, when the message is uplifting. And of course, lawyers, because this is the sign of the legal profession. So a healing affirmation for a Libra North Node may be, when I focus on supporting others, I feel confident. If you have a North Node in Scorpio, or the 8th house, there's been an over concern on materialistic things in past lives. So this is about releasing whatever causes stagnation or low energy. It's about choosing constructive change, not holding on to what's familiar. It's about releasing non-useful possessions and accepting support from others and enjoying high-risk situations that make you feel alive. And being aware of other people's psychology and partnering and supporting and mentoring others. These are growth aspects for the Scorpio North Node in this lifetime, because what they need to leave behind in this lifetime is an attachment to the status quo, to possessiveness, to resistance to change and to other people's input, things to leave behind. Some possible career areas for the Scorpio North Node may be, well, they make great editors because they have the capacity to really get and understand where the other person's coming from and to bring it and lift it into prominence. Also banking, insurance, investments. I find a lot of people with this placement handle other people's money, other people's resources, and of course psychologists and private investigators, because it's the ability to plummet the depths of superficiality and get to what's really going on. It's quite a fearless placement in many ways, a Scorpio North Node. So a healing affirmation for the Scorpio North Node person may be, whenever I partner deeply with others, I win. For those of you with a Sagittarius or 9th house North Node placement, this is a lifetime that has to do with, well, you're a student of life, really, an insatiable curiosity, and seeing yourself as a tourist of life is very healthy with this placement. There's a need here to understand higher philosophies and spirituality and to rely on your intuition, speaking from higher consciousness, trusting yourself, spending time alone and in nature can be very nurturing for this North Node placement, as well as intuitive listening, hearing the meaning behind the words. Because in past lives, you were always second guessing what other people were thinking, or saying what other people wanted to hear, and invalidating intuitive knowledge with logic. Impatience and wanting immediate answers is another area to leave behind in this incarnation of soul growth. Careers for this North Node in Sagittarius can be, well, they're highly intuitive. I find a lot of intuitives, a lot of psychics, channelers have strong Sagittarius or 9th Node placements. Foreign countries and connections are important in this lifetime, as is finding solutions while using their futuristic tendencies, because this North Node can perceive the future. It's prophetic. And it's also precognitive. Lawyers, spiritual leaders, professors, publishers, advertising moguls often have this placement because they can perceive future trends. So an affirmation for the North Node in Sagittarius might be, when I trust my intuition and communicate in the moment, I win. If you have your North Node in Capricorn or the 10th house, this is a lifetime or a soul contract. Soul growth has to do with attaining recognition through one's profession or through one's personal achievements. It's about self-respect. It's about staying goal-oriented, letting go of the past, and accepting responsibility for your success. Because you've had past lives of being in the home, setting up the home, having families, tending to the family unit. Not that that leaves you in this lifetime, but the soul growth is about developing your own niche in this life, based on your own unique talents and abilities. So what you need to leave behind in this incarnation is dependence, insecurity leading to inaction, limiting self through fear or isolation, spending too much time at home, and a lack of self-respect. You're meant to get out there and to be seen and valued and acknowledged. Careers for a North Node in Capricorn or 10th house is excelling at being at the boss. You need to be your own boss at some level. Management talents are always apparent here. Public speaking, politics, entrepreneurship. Finally hone feelings of empathy too, because of your past life development of taking care of others. You bring this awareness of empathy and other people's feelings to the public arena, to your public community, to your life direction, to your career and avocation. And as they say, if you have 15 employees, you need to learn to speak 15 different languages, right? Everyone's motivated by different values, and you are uniquely positioned, Capricorn North Node, to execute this with plenty of success. So an affirmation for you might be, when I take charge, I win. Now in Aquarius, North Node in Aquarius, or the 11th house, has to do with the need to elevate goals for the good of the group and the collective. You've had past lives of focusing on your own creativity, love, children, etc. This is asking you to participate for the good of all in group endeavors. It also shows a desire for friendship in this life too, and making decisions for the group interests. Sharing unconventional ideas. It's about participating in humanitarian causes if you have a North Node in Aquarius. Equality, win-win situations, seeing the specialness in others. What to leave behind in this lifetime is the need to get your own way, or changes just to exercise your authority, stubbornness, doing what's expected rather than following your own heart, and being unaware of other people's importance, things and tendencies to leave behind. Careers for an Aquarius North Node placement may include team leaders, scientists, astrologers. Aquarius rules astrology. Electricians, computer experts, innovative ideas that are brought to the public. Also broadcasters and TV and radio. All Aquarian North Node activities and careers. So an affirmation for you might be, I don't have to dominate others to feel okay about myself. If you have a North Node placement in Pisces or the 12th house in this lifetime, the soul contract for you, the soul growth for you, is about searching for truth to serve humanity. It's a need for compassion and for surrendering anxiety to a higher power. It's for freeing the mind through meditation if you have a North Node in Pisces. It's focusing on your spiritual pathway for sure, and trusting in positive outcomes. If you have a North Node in Pisces or the 12th house, it's about welcoming change, not being fearful of it. What to leave behind in this lifetime, Pisces North Node, is hyper-anxiety reactions, obsessive worry, overanalyzation, fault-finding, staying in unpleasant situations, all areas to leave behind. And possible careers for Piscean North Node is, first of all, you need space. You need your privacy, research, library and computer work, pursuit of spiritual truth for such as priests, pastors, artists, craftspeople, performers, musicians. Bringing private dreams to others is part of your soul growth in this lifetime. And they're great promoters, working behind the scenes on behalf of others and avoiding areas of heavy detail. So an affirmation for you, Pisces, may be, when I trust my spiritual energy and share my gifts with others, I win. Because this is about the essence of life, not the form of life. This is the growth area, trusting in spirit, trusting in angels, teachers, guides, and your own instincts. It has been a pleasure speaking with you today, and I wish you all very well through this journey of healing in overcoming limitations, fear, and worry. Namaste.